Many people complain about Windows 8. Some say it is the worst operating system ever. Of course, many of these complaints come from the fact that Windows 8 has a new user interface, and people don't like to change their habits. But it's also true that this new Windows 8 interface can be confusing and sometimes feels like an unfinished product. But rather than criticize, I would like to discuss how to improve it. First of all, we have to understand the problem Windows 8 is trying to solve. The world of computing devices now comprises keyboard and mouse devices, touch devices, and something that is unfortunately not very well known to the general public: pen devices. Now, none of them is better or worse, they are just different ways of interacting, corresponding to different usages. Some devices, like the Surface Pro, let you use all three kinds of input. Users are also different. We have the so-called power users, who use computing devices for specific applications like business, engineering, science, art, music, etc. And we have average users, who use computing devices to check their email, browse the web, watch pictures, etc. For keyboard and mouse devices, many different operating systems have been available, that both power users and average users can use. For touch devices, other operating systems have been developed, namely iOS and Android. And a few operating systems can work with active styluses. Now, recently average users seem to prefer small, lightweight and touch devices, and abandon the traditional keyboard and mouse computers. This is of course a bad thing for the keyboard and mouse operating systems like Windows, but this is also a bad thing for everyone. Indeed, this leads to a segmentation of the market into powerful operating systems for power users on the one hand, and simple but limited operating systems for average users on the other hand. This goes against the very concept of computers being versatile devices. In reality, average users sometimes need to be power users, and power users also need to do simple and easy tasks. So, Microsoft's answer to this problem has been Windows 8, a system that bridges all these usages and users. At least Microsoft could be praised for trying to do that. But in practice, at the moment, Windows 8 is more like a mixture of the old Windows 7 desktop, and a new interface called Metro or Modern User Interface, that imitates the iOS and Android way of operating. The problem is that these two interfaces act like two different environments that are not very consistent with each other. The desktop works with Windows, while the modern interface works with apps organized in a home screen that can be launched in full screen. This led Microsoft to develop different versions of their applications for the two environments, such as Internet Explorer, Photo Viewer, and OneNote. This confuses people as to which application they should use. Furthermore, the modern interface sometimes intrudes into the desktop. Say that I want to open a picture from the desktop. By default, it opens in the modern interface Photo Viewer in full screen. Not only not much can be done from here, such as watching the next picture in the file system, but it is also a change of environment that can be annoying. Trying to go back to the original environment often brings the start screen, where you have to look for the desktop tile and click to go back where you come from. So here is a solution I would like to propose. It revolves around the following 3 points. Unify the desktop and modern interfaces. Adapt the interface to the usage context. And give options to users. First of all, unify the interface. Let's see how the same interface could be used for devices with keyboard and mouse, and touch and pen devices. On a keyboard and mouse device, Windows can detect the presence of keyboard and mouse at startup and automatically brings the desktop, which is the most relevant environment for these inputs. On a touch and pen device, however, Windows starts up with a start screen. Now, on the keyboard and mouse device, we can launch applications from the Start button or corner, which reveals the same start screen. Or maybe, we just want a menu with the same content but smaller icons, because we are using a mouse. This could be an option in the preferences. In any case, launching applications brings them in the form of windows, because that is more natural and flexible to use with a mouse. This also applies to modern applications. This is technically possible, as demonstrated by Modern Mix from Starbuck. Bringing modern apps in Windows rather than divided screens makes much more sense on the desktop, especially on a large monitor. Of course, as usual, Windows can be maximized. And so can be modern app windows. But sometimes, even when using a mouse, we would like to use the modern app in full screen. To do this, we simply drag the app window to the top of the screen and drag down halfway to the bottom to go back to a window in the desktop. Now, if a classic application also has a modern version, dragging it to the top seamlessly brings the full-screen modern app. This way, from the user's perspective, it looks as if there is only one application that just adapts to different formats. Now, on a touch and pen device, modern applications run by default in full screen. This is because they are called from tapping the screen rather than clicking the mouse. Closing the app goes back to the start screen, because Windows remembers this is where we're coming from. However, in some situations, even on a touch device, we want to use the desktop. This is something that is often overlooked, but the desktop can also be used with a touchscreen and provides many benefits over usual touch systems. It can be used to explore the file system, move and copy files. It offers windows, which nowadays can easily be moved and resized by touching them. And it can run powerful legacy apps. Maybe some users don't need it, but others definitely do. To bring an application to the desktop, simply drag it down halfway to the bottom of the screen. Once we are in the desktop, launching new apps brings them to the desktop, because Windows remember where we are coming from. Now, of course, to make this work, Windows has to adapt to the usage context. This means that it should provide feedback with the same content, but altered form depending on the way we interact with it. For example, clicking to see files reveals a window with icons. But tapping should automatically reveal a window with larger icons, so that we can easily touch them. Drop-down menus usually display a list of commands. When called from a touch, they should display a list with large icons, or at least larger text. This has already been implemented in Microsoft Office and works very nicely. If it is technically possible, it should be extended to all applications for consistency. If no physical screen is present, tapping on a text field with a finger should make the on-screen keyboard appear. Currently, this does not occur in classic applications. And tapping with a pen should make the pen tab appear. Finally, it is important to give users options. While it is clear that Microsoft is trying to shift the usage paradigm for most users, some power users still need some special options for their workflow. These people are often the most vocal about their likes and dislikes of Windows. Giving them these options do not affect the default usage of most users who simply ignore these options, while keeping the power users happy. Again, it is the versatile nature of computers. For example, how about giving the option for a start menu that some people miss? Or, in Windows 7, it was possible to quickly right-click with a second finger, or copy something with a finger flick. This was removed in Windows 8, presumably to avoid confusion with pinch zooming. But again, how about leaving it as an option? Of course, there are many other things that could be improved in Windows 8. But if these simple proposals could be implemented, it could provide a smooth and consistent experience for a wide range of devices, usages, and users. If you agree with these ideas, please like this video, so that other people know. Hopefully, Microsoft will take into account these considerations and find a way to implement them. Otherwise, maybe some competitor will. Thank you for watching.